So let's begin our Hockney style collage by opening up our 22 source files, which you'll find on the video disc. These were originally RAW files, but we saved them as JPEGs so we can actually fit them on the disc, and we'll show you those as we open them. So Control A to select all, and then go to open, and then Photoshop will start to chug through, and you can see here we've just zoomed in quite close from a distance and panned and tilted the camera to capture the entire scene in little tight cropped chunks, which we can then collage together to create a bigger picture from these smaller components. And you can see it's taking a while to open them up, but it's quite interesting just to see the source files as they come in. On their own they don't really work as photographs, but together the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, because you have this wonderful collage style picture with lots of tilted shots and irregular shaped borders, and also little bits of time have been captured in different frames, and that gives you an overall picture of life in this busy square in Venice. And we can see our source files. They're all open at the moment, but if we go to the project bin and open that up and then extend it upwards, you can have a look at the 22 files here, and you can see that some of them are fairly similar. In fact, some of them overlap considerably. So there's going to be a nice irregular collage of different rectangular shapes all overlapping to create new shapes. But these are all we need to capture the entire square, so what we'll do now is create a new document to paste them all into. Now these are all large full frame photographs in their own right, so if you stitched all these together you could create a gigantic print at high quality. So we're going to create something quite large, but it's enough to fill a double spread of a magazine, but you could really create a much larger document and still get a really enormous collage, which is great for presenting it on a gallery wall or on your living room wall at a really large size. But this size should do fine. If you go to File, New, create a new blank file, change the measurement to centimeters, and something that's about 30 wide by around 21 high should do the trick. And resolution, you can boost that up to about 300 just to maximize the quality of the print. And then click OK, and here's your new document in which we're going to add all of our source files. Now these will fit in there nicely, but let's just minimize this for the moment, and we can then start to organize our workspace just to get everything ready. You need to see the layers palette because we're going to do a lot of work in here. And let's go to the zoom tool and just go to fit screen for the moment to zoom in. Now you can see here we've got the shots, and they're all different as we panned and tilted the camera. The numbers of the shots you can tell by moving over them. You get Venice 03 pop up and so on. These aren't in the order in which they're shot because we've actually done a lot of refining, and we've already made the collage and tried to work out what goes where. So it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, but we did start off with over 40 shots and we whittled it down to 22 because we had a lot of duplication and it was looking kind of messy to have too many images in the collage. So let's double click on 01. And then let's select all of that by going to Select All or choosing Control and A. The marching ants appear around the edge. Then you can go to Edit, Copy, or Control and C, as I'll do with the rest of them. And then let's go to our blank canvas, double click, and then Edit Paste in our image. And it's quite a large size at the moment, so we're going to scale it down to fit the frame. So go to Image, Transform, Free Transform, or press Control and T, and you get a bounding box around the edge. We could drag the handles with the constrained proportions selected, or we can scale each image to make them fit perfectly together by typing in a percentage value. So I'm going to go for about 22%. Click OK, and there you can see we've got a little bounding box there. We can move it around. We could still scale it if we liked, but just click the tick to apply the transformation. And there we have layer 1, which equates to image 1. I don't need to relabel that because layer 1 is going to be image 1, layer 2, image 2, and so on. So I'm going to be able to keep organized. And also I can make some more space by minimizing the project bin. So let's just hide that because all the files are still open. Let's go to the zoom tool, fit to screen again so we can get a better look at the collage. And you can access those open files by going to Window, and you can see them there all in a list. So to go to Venice 02, let's select that one there. Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and once you've copied the file you can either pop back to the project bin, double click to select the project, or go to Window and find it from there. I've called it Video Collage, by the way, so it now has a name as a layered document. It's always good to save your work, because if it crashes then you don't want to have to start layering things in again. Anyway, let's go and hide project bin for the moment. Let's edit, paste the new file in, and let's just repeat the process by going to Control T to get the free transform tool. Make sure constraints on there and type in 22%. If you type that in height, it also changes the width. Hit return and then click the tick to move this one around. Okay, so we can now work out where this goes in relation to the other by zooming in, holding the space bar just to move to the left there, just to reshape or reposition the canvas, and then to overlap them what we can do is press 5, which changes the opacity of the layer to 50%. Then if we go to V for the move tool, which is up here on the left, we can then move that around and try and work out how these fit together. You can see the text there on the awning, so let's just pop that roughly over there. We're not trying to stitch this seamlessly together, that's the whole point of collage, so don't worry if it's not quite working perfectly and it's not quite aligned, but something like that should do the trick quite nicely. Then 0 to go to 100% opacity, or click up here if you fancy doing it manually, and there we have our first overlapping frames of our collage.